All right, let's talk about Turkey. When you think of Turkish tourism, you probably think massive success, right? I mean, millions of visitors, billions of dollars. But what if I told you there's a huge puzzle hidden behind those numbers? A puzzle that makes us question what success in tourism even means. Let's dive in. Okay, so first up, let's look at the numbers. And wow, are they big? In 2019, right before everything changed, Turkey saw 51.7 million tourists. Just let that sink in for a second. 51.7 million. That's not just good, that's elite level stuff. We're talking about one of the most visited countries on the entire planet, an absolute giant in the tourism world. And look, it wasn't just about people showing up. They were spending money, a lot of money, to the tune of $34.5 billion. That's a huge engine for the Turkish economy. So you've got this picture, right? Insane visitor numbers, massive revenue, everything looks perfect. But it's not the whole story. So here it is. This is the big question, the core of this whole puzzle. If the numbers are so incredible, why isn't Turkey ranked in, say, the top 30 when it comes to global tourism competitiveness? See, this is where things get really, really interesting. Okay, to figure this out, we need to look at something called the Travel and Tourism Competitiveness Index, or TTCI for short. This thing is put out by the World Economic Forum, and it's way more than just counting heads. The best way to think about it is like a super detailed report card for a country's entire tourism industry. It doesn't just ask how many people visited, it asks how well is this country set up for long-term sustainable success. It looks at everything. So the big reveal, where did Turkey actually rank on this big report card? Number 43 out of 140 countries. Now, don't get me wrong, 43rd is not bad. It's pretty good, actually. But for a country that's in the top 10 for visitors, you'd expect it to be way up there in the top 30, right? There's a clear disconnect here. So what's pulling that score down? Let's get into the details. Yeah, when you dig into this report, it's almost like you're looking at two different countries. You've got these areas where Turkey is just absolutely crushing it, world class. And then you have these other areas that, well, they need some work. And those are the ones dragging down the overall grade. Just look at this. It lays it all out. On the strength side, it's a powerhouse. Cultural resources, 17th in the world. I mean, that's incredible. Air travel infrastructure, 20th. Super easy to fly in and out. But then you look at the other column, the areas for improvement. Natural resources, ranked 77th. Oof. Human resources, all the way down at 97th. And then, look at this. Environmental sustainability, 126th. That is really, really low. So you have this cultural giant that's being weighed down by these other really critical factors. And this really nails the core idea behind the whole report. It's not just about being popular right now. The real competitive advantage is ensuring that you're going to stay popular, that you'll still be a top destination in 10, 20, 30 years. And that idea leads us directly to the single biggest challenge that the report pointed out for Turkey. Okay, let's be blunt. Ranking 126th out of 140 countries on anything is not good. But on environmental sustainability, that's a huge red flag. Because think about it, this isn't some abstract concept. This is about protecting the very things that tourists come to see. The stunning coastlines, the beautiful landscapes, the whole reason people visit. A score this low is basically a warning sign about the long-term health of the entire industry. But hey, it's not all bad news. The whole point of a report card like this isn't just to point out what's wrong, it's to show how to make things better. The analysis is full of recommendations. So let's look at the path forward. How can Turkey build a more competitive tourism future? When it comes to the environment, the report lays out some really clear, actionable steps. First up, protect more of your natural areas. Believe it or not, Turkey ranked 137th on that one specific point. So that's a huge area for improvement. Then it's about actually enforcing the environmental rules that are already on the books. Next, get on board with more international environmental agreements. And maybe most importantly, start shifting away from just mass market tourism and really promote sustainable models that are built to last. All right, let's move on to the next big challenge. And this one is all about people. At the end of the day, a country's tourism industry is powered by the people who work in it, right? The hotel staff, the tour guides, everyone. Ranking 97th here, well, that shows there's a real weakness that's holding Turkey back from its true potential. So, what can be done? The suggestions are pretty straightforward. It comes down to investing in people, better training, a bigger focus on customer service, and crucially, improving working conditions so that you don't have so many people leaving the industry. The report says it's tough to find qualified employees right now. And here's a number that just jumps off the page. Turkey ranks 126th for female participation in the labor force. That is a massive pool of talent that's just not being fully utilized. When you invest in your people, you're directly investing in the quality of the experience every single tourist has. Okay, now for an area that's kind of sitting in the middle of the pack. The business environment, ranked 71st. It's not a disaster, but it's not great either. And that means it's a huge opportunity. Think of it like a lever. If you can improve this, if you can make it easier to start and run a tourism business, you can unleash a whole new level of innovation and quality. And the ideas for how to do that are all about making things simpler and more attractive. We're talking about cutting red tape to make it easier to start a business, making the legal system more reliable for sorting out business disagreements, lowering taxes to encourage more investment. They even suggest cool ideas like a startup visa to bring in fresh talent and new ideas from around the world. It's all about creating a better climate for business to thrive. So, let's boil this all down. What's the bottom line? Turkey's success right now, it comes from things that are undeniably amazing. Its incredible history and culture, it's easy to get to, and it's a great value. That's what's drawing in those 50 million people. But to get to that next level, to crack the top 30 and stay there, that's going to depend on something different. It's about building for the future. And that means getting serious about protecting the environment and investing in the people who make the whole industry run. And that leaves us with a pretty big question to think about, not just for Turkey, but for any country that relies on tourism. Is the end game just more? More tourists, more flights, more hotels every single year? Or is the real goal to build something better, a more sustainable, higher quality experience that's good for everyone? The visitors, the people who live there, and the planet itself. The path Turkey chooses will really tell us a lot about the future of travel. Thanks for digging into this with me.